Tonight on 7 News, a huge NAPLAN fail, tests thrown into turmoil by a technical lockout. Tasmanian students caught in the chaos. Companies on edge over the future of Bell Bay, the search for a new owner to save a stricken smelter. One of the Iranian defectors changes her mind on her way back to her troubled homeland. In Tehran, they're running for their lives as America unleashes its biggest attack of the war. The Nationals elect their new leader, Matt Canavan, promising to fight back for Australians. And in her own words, Seven sports star Mel McLaughlin reveals why she disappeared from TV.
This is 7 News Tasmania with Kim Millar.
Good evening. NAPLAN testing has been thrown into chaos for more than 1 million children across the country after an IT outage forced a mass shutdown. The tech problem affecting Tasmanian students in grades 5, 7 and 9, authorities calling an immediate halt. And tonight they still can't say what caused the outage.
Designed to measure academic competency, but today it was the NAPLAN test itself which failed. 1.4 million Australian students left in the dark, with the assessment authority in damage control.
This has caused disruptions in a significant number of schools, and for that we apologise unreservedly.
A tech issue locking students out of the system, today's writing tests postponed.
NAPLAN, very important.
The authority issuing a statement well after testing was supposed to begin, confirming the matter was being urgently investigated, going on to say schools had been advised to press pause.
And we want as many students as possible to complete those assessments.
Because the mums and dads and the schools genuinely want to know what the results are.
Oh, I guess it's important, yeah. No, I'm not too concerned about that. I've got a close eye on how my kids are tracking.
Did you do the NAPLAN today?
No, tomorrow.
Despite this national outage, Tasmanian students will be worse off than their mainland counterparts, with some public school teachers refusing to administer the test due to ongoing industrial action.
Many of our schools across Tasmania won't be participating in NAPLAN, and it's because the Premier and the Education Minister, who has gone into hiding, have not come forward with a reasonable pay and conditions offer.
Education Minister Joe Palmer did not respond to our request for an interview today, with the union confirming teachers will walk off the job in Hobart, Launceston, Burnie and Devonport later this month.
So at this stage there'll be full-day strikes, which we haven't seen in Tasmania for a significant period of time.
Alessandra Rossini, 7 News.
A lifeline could be in the works for the struggling Liberty Bell Bay smelter, where hundreds of jobs remain up in the air. The search is on to find a new operator to take over operations should the current foreign owner be forced to offload the asset. But the recent run of financial and legal turmoil has local business leaders on edge.
Uncertainty ahead for one of Tasmania's major industrial zones.
There's a high level of concern about what's next.
Tamar Valley business leaders convening to discuss the future of Bell Bay.
There are things sort of happening in the area that is beating on people's confidence at the moment.
More than 200 jobs are still in limbo at Liberty Bell Bay, with the corporate watchdog last week moving to wind up operations at GFG's struggling smelter over its failure to file financial reports. And the impact is widening, with suppliers also starting to feel the pressure.
They are struggling. Payments haven't been made to many of the suppliers for quite some time now, and they are having to lay people off right now.
The search is now on for a new operator to step in and get the business back up and running.
We want to see an owner there that's willing to invest in the future of the plant and the workforce. GFG haven't been able to do that. That's been hugely disappointing.
And to help safeguard Australia's only manganese smelter.
When you lose the sovereign capability, you have no control, and you're at the mercy of events happening around the world.
The government says it's in talks with between 5 and 10 parties interested in restarting operations.
We really want to make sure that there's a bright future at this site.
I am aware of a couple of companies that are looking at the facility.
It is important that we see a future for Liberty Bell Bay, but it must be a sustainable future.
A hint of stability after a stretch of turbulence. Tom Crosby, 7 News.
There's been a surprise twist in the fight for Iran's female soccer players. One of the 7 who accepted Australia's help now having a change of heart. But her decision to return to Iran has inadvertently exposed the location of her 6 teammates who chose to stay. Australia now accused of keeping them hostage.
part of her team's now infamous silent protest, before coming on as a substitute against South Korea.
21-year-old Mohadesh Zolfi in her first Asian Cup.
Lioness striker Mohadessa Zolfi had already embraced everything Australian while in Perth to play the Matildas in 2023. And last night, along with team official Zara Sultan Moshkeka, joining the other 5 players calling Australia home.
I met with them last night. They were physically and emotionally exhausted.
But with her other teammates safe and apparently happy in Malaysia, Mohadessa Zolfi called several of them.
And had changed her mind.
Concerned about what staying would mean for her family in Iran, she called Iran's Australian chargé d'affaires, Hossein Talebi, who collected her. But that created a big problem. The Iranian authorities now knew exactly where the other players were staying. Their safe house, suddenly unsafe.
I immediately gave the instruction for people to be moved.
The minister says he's satisfied the young striker hadn't been pressured.
This was her decision, and every question you would want asked was asked.
All the other players were offered humanitarian visas at Sydney Airport last night, and all declined. Iran's Football Federation president claiming those who have stayed are being held against their will.
In this incident, they are taking our girls hostage.
Rubbish, says the government, as Brisbane's women's soccer team says the Lionesses can roar with them.
For us as a football club, we want to give all of the ladies a home and somewhere to feel safe to play their football.
Looking at re-entering politics, Clive Palmer cashing in, offering them $10,000 each to kickstart their Australian lives with this challenge.
And I'd encourage other wealthy Australians such as Angus Taylor to join me and match my donation.
Not exactly a sporting challenge.
The US is bombing Iranian boats laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz as the battle to secure global trade intensifies. The death toll from the war across the Middle East has now climbed above 1,700. Most of those killed are in Iran, while Lebanon and Israel are also counting their losses. And now 170 US soldiers have been injured in this war, as America claimed it was unleashing its most aggressive day of attacks.
In Tehran, the sprint for survival. Go, go, this man shouts as America hits harder than ever before. A volley of strikes that barely let up.
Our most intense day of strikes inside Iran.
More civilians are being swept up in this conflict. Here, a man shaken but alive is pulled from this Tehran apartment block, but not everyone made it out. This man's relative among 40 killed. America says Iran is running out of firepower, but the nation's most powerful weapon could be its geography, the ability to strangle the Strait of Hormuz. The US systematically destroying Iran's ships, one after another, taking out vessels suspected of laying explosive mines.
We will not relent until the enemy is totally and decisively defeated.
Iran's Revolutionary Guard trains to take out ships. Cargo killers on a vital shipping route. And tonight, a second trade path is now under threat. While the Strait of Hormuz gateways a fifth of the world's oil, the Bab al-Mandeb Strait is also vital. Flow point from the Suez Canal for oil, household goods between Europe and Asia. It's called the Gate of Tears, where Houthi rebels have threatened attacks on world shipping if strikes on Iran continue. Iran still desperately fights back, here launching suicide drones and long-range missiles, most toward Israel. This one shot down over Tel Aviv. They are bigger than a bus.
Well, this is the weapon that has defined this war, the ballistic missile. This is just one fuel cell. They're usually more than twice this long. And more of them are carrying these. Cluster bombs.
Up to 50 of them each, 20 kilos apiece, and able to dodge Iron Dome defences.
You don't have any chance to survive.
Lethal too when they're intercepted and fall from the sky. It's unclear how many more Iran has. But as police delivered their briefing on Iran's missile threat,
have
siren.
Alarms warn of another incoming round.
Guys!
The briefing was brief. Everyone ordered to take shelter. In Lebanon, they have none of the defences. Israel strikes intensifying in the hunt for Hezbollah. Even Christian communities hit, with 700,000 people now fleeing their homes. The prayers for an end unanswered. In Israel, Chris Reason, 7 News.
Petrol companies are now being threatened with fines of up to $100 million if they engage in price gouging as a result of the war. Reporter Rebecca Gaytoneris has been checking fuel prices in Tasmania and joins us live. Beck, prices have continued to climb.
Yeah, that's right, Kim. Prices have varied right across the state. On the government's Fuel Check app, it shows prices are varying by around 50 cents a litre. The most expensive petrol in the state right now is around $2.33 in Westaway. But we're not being hit as hard as New South Wales, where petrol is almost $3.40 a litre in at least one location. That's well over $200 to fill up the average car. But Kim, as you said, fuel retailers will be hit if they're caught hiking up the prices without good reason. The Treasurer says they're working with industry to crack down on misconduct.
We are putting the petrol companies on notice. We won't cop big corporates treating Australian consumers like mugs.
Additional reprieve could be on the way. The International Energy Agency is considering the largest release of oil reserves since the Russian invasion of Ukraine. That could bring down some of the soaring prices and relieve some of the pressure for consumers at the pump. Kim?
Let's hope so. Thank you very much there, Beck. Well, the man who brutally stabbed a mother 17 times while she was sleeping at her Ulverston home in 2021 will try to appeal the severity of his 20-year sentence for murder. Colin, William Drake's lawyer, today told the Supreme Court documents needed for the case are still being collated, delaying a hearing date now expected in May. An appearance last December first revealed Drake's plan to overturn the jail time he was dealt in 2023. He previously pleaded not guilty to the murder of Gabrielle Marshall, but changed it to guilty. They may have been caught by surprise by David Littleproud's decision to step down, but the Nationals haven't taken long to elect their new leader. Josh Martin is at Parliament House, and Josh, Matt Canavan will take the reins.
Good evening, Kim. The Queensland-based senator won today's party room ballot and he's promising to fight for Australia. Gippsland MP Darren Chester is his new deputy. Former Nationals leader David Littleproud was quite literally in the shadow of Matt Canavan as he outlined his populist agenda. It includes a plan for new coal-fired power stations, and it's clearly been designed with One Nation in mind to win back voters from One Nation ahead of May's Farrer by-election.
We need to go hyper Australia for our country. We need more Australian babies. We need more Australian humour, more Australian jokes. We need more Australian barbecues.
Billionaire Clive Palmer was also in Parliament today announcing that he plans to return to federal politics at the 2028 election. The mining magnate will run in the Gold Coast seat of Fadden.
The AFL is overhauling its controversial illicit drug policy, with footy stars no longer getting second and third chances. Which players are tested and how it's done will change, but not everyone is seeing positive results.
Tackling drug use off the field.
It's a tougher policy. It's certainly overdue.
We're not done yet. I'd say we're getting close.
The major overhaul will strike out the three-strike system.
They knew that they weren't going to be sanctioned until they really crossed the line a few times.
Urine samples will be replaced with hair testing, which can detect substances in your system for up to 3 months. And shaving your head won't deter doctors.
It can be the back of your knee or the top of your ankle. So wherever you've got a bit of hair, you've got to provide that hair. There'll be some positive tests come out because we do know there are players out there that are getting caught up in the social scene.
For the first time since its launch in 2017, the AFLW will reportedly be included in the policy, and the medical program is hoping to hold players more accountable.
So that if you are getting help, there's a responsibility that you take up that help.
If guys are slipping through the cracks, well then
some adjustment needed to happen, and if that's happening and they send that through, well then we're obviously all got to abide by that.
As to when these changes will come into play is up in the air, with negotiations yet to be finalised between the league and the Players Association.
Once that happens, then we'll have a discussion about what that looks like.
Sarah Jones, 7 News.
Almost 1,000 teenagers have braved freezing conditions for a heartwarming cause. They took part in the biggest ever ice bucket challenge, shivering their way into the record books.
Freezing for a cause.
3, 2, 1, go!
Cold comfort for a record 979 teenagers dunking themselves in icy water for Fight MND.
It was like a shock of coldness. It felt really refreshing and good.
Refreshing?
Yes. It's really cold though right now. Very exciting to be a part of all this world record.
One lucky organiser of a community do-it-yourself big freeze like this will slide in the big freeze at the G. This inspires Neil Danaher.
I reckon it'll give him quite a few laughs, actually, Nick. I think there was so much going on, there was so much energy.
It was also a great opportunity for students to see their principal suffer. Robin Thompson delighted in delighting her students, but her reason for being here was deeply personal.
My sister passed away from MND just before Easter last year, so to be here today and to honour her means a hell of a lot to me.
And is she in your mind at the moment?
Oh, absolutely, every day, every day.
Nick McCallum, 7 News.
Well, buckets of rain, not ice, have been getting in the way of the Tigers' one-day cup final today, and Nick is here staying dry in the studio while keeping an eye on things out there. Now, how's it looking at Ninja Stadium?
Yeah, it seems like play has just started, Kim, albeit a few hours late. The covers have been on all afternoon and players sitting in the stands watching the skies. What does the delay mean for their title hopes? That's coming up later in sport. Also, the Hawks hoping to bury the headlines ahead of their Friday night grudge match against the Bombers. And the second highest scoring game ever in the NBA by a single player. Catch the highlights later in sport, Kim.
Okay, thank you, Nick. We'll see you then. The Easter break is fast approaching, and as families prepare for a holiday, opportunistic thieves are lurking. Up next, the would-be burglars caught in the act, the safety message from authorities. Also ahead on 7 News this hour, a bus blast tragedy in the heart of Switzerland. And then the controversial piece of art with titanic repercussions for US President Donald Trump. A teenager from Tasmania's northwest is recovering in hospital after being diagnosed with meningococcal disease, the state's second case this year. Health authorities say close contacts were quickly identified, with antibiotics distributed to reduce the risk of further spread. Symptoms can include fever, severe headache, muscle pain or a rash. Experts are warning while the infection is rare, it can become life-threatening within hours. Cleaners at the Royal Hobart Hospital walked off the job for 4 hours today as a bit of pay dispute continues with the state government. The health union claims management is pushing ahead with a plan to create another middle management role instead of employing more workers and increasing their wages above 3%.
We see a cleaner shortage day in, day out. Stupidity is being shown here to put on more bosses and less workers, yet we've got nowhere.
We believe we've put a fair deal to the union and to the workers.
The health union warns longer strikes could be possible if the government doesn't strike a deal. As the Easter break approaches, authorities warn it's no break for opportunistic thieves, encouraging Tasmanians to safeguard their home. It's footage like we're about to show, which may help you and police track down would-be burglars.
In the dead of night, but it's no rest for the opportunistic. This hooded thief siphoning fuel from a truck. In the next suburb, a would-be burglar approaches a house peeping through a window. As for this interloper, it was a quick in and out.
Unfortunately, some people will always take the opportunity to commit crime where they can.
Shameless acts like this caught on camera far too often. Intruders usually eyeing off small but valuable belongings.
Smaller electronic items, power tools, and sometimes the keys. People will enter a house to get the keys to take somebody's motor vehicle.
As Easter approaches, opportunistic thieves could hop on a chance to strike. Authorities warn thieves who don't get lucky on the inside may target the outside. It could be the perfect opportunity for porch pirates to pinch parcels and packages. Police say simple steps can be taken to safeguard your property.
Home CCTV systems, sensor lighting, stuff like that is a really good way to deter people with your property, particularly with valuables. Have the serial numbers recorded, or even better, have your valuable items, your power tools or stuff like that engraved.
Rebecca Gaidaneris, 7 News.
At least 6 people have been killed and 5 others injured after a bus exploded in western Switzerland. It happened about 20 kilometres from the Swiss capital Bern. Metres tall flames engulfed the vehicle within seconds, panicked passengers trying to escape. Police are probing whether it was a deliberate act and haven't yet ruled out terrorism. Another mysterious art installation featuring Donald Trump has appeared on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. This one depicts the US President and pedophile Jeffrey Epstein, recreating the famous King of the World scene from the movie Titanic. The piece is by the anonymous art collective Secret Handshake. A plaque underneath points out the similarities between the president's friendship with Epstein and Jack and Rose's tragic love story, including raucous parties, luxurious travel and nude sketches. Dora, the 10-month-old stolen cavoodle, has been found safe and well after she was snatched from a busy Melbourne supermarket on Monday. Security footage of the dog napping helped police track down the accused culprits before returning the puppy to her family.
A heartwarming reunion for Dora and her overjoyed owner.
Amazing relief.
2 days after the puppy was snatched by thieves.
It has been absolute rollercoaster of emotions.
The 10-month-old cavoodle was stolen from outside a South Yarra shopping centre while Frank was inside.
So much fear and dread, but trepidation.
3 women were caught on CCTV at the time Dora was taken, sparking a police investigation across Melbourne. This morning, police found the pup at a Noble Park home 30 kilometres away, arresting a woman at the property. Frank, happy to get the call he and his young daughter Claire were hoping for.
No one hugs Dora more than our daughter Claire.
The 19-year-old who was arrested this morning has been charged with theft, and a 27-year-old woman handed herself in. She was released pending further inquiries. Police are still looking for a third suspect.
We'd encourage people not to leave their dogs unattended outside shopping centres.
Dora was a little shaky after her ordeal, but thankfully uninjured. Tonight there will be cuddles at home where she belongs. Ainsley Kosh, 7 News.
Well, major events like the Foo Fighters one-off Launceston concert could be behind a recent boost to business. A new survey from NAB showing Tasmania is notably outperforming the rest of the country when it comes to business confidence and conditions. Welcome news for the hospitality industry.
We want to continue to invest in our businesses, invest in our staff and invest in Tasmania, so we're really excited about the future.
And there's quite a positivity around the bar now that wasn't here even 12 months ago.
More than 500 businesses around Australia were surveyed. In a battle of David versus Goliath, Australia's Katy Perry has just taken down her pop star namesake in a High Court fight with even higher consequences. That's next. And what travel companies and airlines need you to know as the Middle East conflict throws holiday plans into chaos. Here's some of our top stories on 7 News Tasmania tonight. Thousands of Tasmanian students left in limbo with NAPLAN tests going haywire. A technical glitch brings classrooms to a halt. The search is on to find a new operator to take over Liberty Bell Bay as a cloud of uncertainty hangs over the struggling smelter. A sixth member of the Iranian soccer delegation chooses to remain in Australia as another reconsiders her move and returns to Iran. And the Nationals choose a new leader. Matt Canavan takes over, while Clive Palmer announces a shock political comeback. It's been a passionate dream for some time, but Glenorchy Council has promised the city's pool will be open by Christmas. The $6 million repair project follows community concern the ageing facility could be closed permanently.
Was in dire straits. It's 60 years old, and the electricity system was dated 1937 because it was second-hand when it went into the community pool, and that's just simply not acceptable in modern-day standards.
The pool's still looking a bit worse for wear, but a proper facelift is next on the to-do list for builders. It's the Battle of the Katies, which has gone all the way to the High Court. But today, an Australian fashion designer notched a massive legal win after an 18-year trademark battle against a global pop star.
It's the David and Goliath battle that pitted Katie against Katie.
And it's been a hard journey. It's been very long. But today, that doesn't really matter because I won.
Hunters Hill designer Katy Perry winning her long-running legal battle in the High Court, claiming a final victory against the pop star 17 years after it began.
We were all jumping up and I burst into tears.
The case centred on who has the right to sell clothes bearing the Katy Perry name. The designer applied for a trademark in 2008. A year later, the pop star's management demanded she withdraw it. In 2019, legal action began. 4 years later, designer Katy won in the federal court. That decision overturned on appeal, but today the High Court sided with the Aussie label, believing the brand was unlikely to deceive or confuse the public.
Katy Perry had reputation, generally speaking, in entertainment and music. The High Court said she has not been able to demonstrate reputation when it comes to clothing.
In another win for the small business, the High Court has ordered the global pop star to pay the designer's legal fees, expected to run into the millions of dollars.
And today's ruling shows that Australian trademarks do matter.
From the Singers team today, Katy Perry has never sought to close down Ms Taylor's business or stop her selling clothes. Taylor Aiken, 7 News.
The Duchess of Sussex is going to headline a weekend retreat exclusively for women when she flies into Sydney next month. The 3-day event will be hosted by Jackie O's Her Best Life podcast. At more than $2,500 a ticket, the summit encourages women who can afford it to recharge and reconnect with one another. It's a lucrative part of Meghan and Harry's itinerary on their first trip to Australia in 7 years. A week and a half into the Middle East war, airlines are already pushing up airfares. Qantas is adding a 5% buffer to some of its ticket prices as demand for travel shows no sign of slowing.
Flying overseas with some airlines is about to be more expensive. A shaky jet fuel price, up 58% in a week, means Qantas and Jetstar will increase the cost of international airfares by around 5%. Domestic airfares remain unchanged. Air New Zealand is raising airfares on all flights.
It's reflecting the uncertainty that airlines have. I mean, fuel is one of their biggest expenses.
No word from the airlines yet if they'll reduce airfares when jet fuel prices stabilise.
It really will depend on where these fuel prices end up, because I think we saw a huge leap on Monday and they significantly went back yesterday.
Despite 43,000 flight cancellations, demand remains strong. Qantas flights to London and Paris are more than 90% full. Passenger numbers up 15% on this time last year.
What seems surprising at the moment is that the Middle Eastern war doesn't seem to have put off people travelling by air. It's just changing their routes.
If you have a flight with a Middle East carrier coming up, the advice is do not cancel it. Wait until the airline makes a change. Otherwise, you risk losing rights to a refund.
I have, in a few weeks' time, a flight on Emirates, and I'm certainly holding on to it. I think I'll be surprised if things aren't back to some level of normality then.
Cricket teams have been stuck in India after the World Cup. The West Indies for over a week, flying out today on commercial airlines after constant charter cancellations. Blake Johnson, 7 News.
Well, one of Seven's own has been doing it tough and is now bravely speaking out. Up next, Mel McLaughlin opens up on the health shock which forced her off our screens for months. And then women leading the way, the workforce celebration with some of Tasmania's brightest industry minds.
Get the news wherever you are on the 7 News app. Download now.
There's no sign of a bipartisan plan on how best to address Tasmania's public housing shortage. Less than 4 years after its inception, the state government is absorbing Homes Tasmania into another department before receiving an independent report into the organisation's performance. But Labor's questioning how this plan will address systemic issues.
We need to know how changing the banner is going to change how they will operate, and we need to know how this government is going to really pursue putting a roof over Tasmanians' heads.
It's about providing homes as efficiently and as effectively as possible for our fellow Tasmanians.
More than 5,000 applications are sitting on the public housing waitlist, hundreds listed as high priority. Well, time to check in on the day's business and finance with thanks to MCMF Investment and Lending. The Australian stock market has continued to claw back losses from this week's market meltdown, up another 0.5% today as miners did some of the heavy lifting. The ASX 200 index climbed 51 points. Not long ago, the Australian dollar still strong, trading at 71.7 US cents and hitting $1.20 New Zealand. Seven sport presenter Mel McLaughlin has been missing from our screens for months, fighting a secret battle. And tonight, she's ready to share her story.
Where do we want to go? This way?
I don't know.
This is a wonderful walk. You're coming and going from where? Up in the commentary box? Because my good mate, my workmate, is bouncing back from the fight of her life.
I was diagnosed with lung cancer in December. So that led to surgery. I've had half my lung cut out.
Hard to believe what you've just heard from one so fit, so full of energy, and a lifelong non-smoker.
It's just very traumatic. It's very triggering. It's just a lot of emotions. And also, you don't want to worry anyone.
Especially her family. Because Mel lost her big sister Tara to lung cancer a decade ago. She was a mum of 2. She was just 39. To pass that news on to family around Christmas time is very tough. But you're trying to tell your mum and dad who've already lost a daughter, and you're trying to tell your nephews who've already lost their mum.
Yeah, because in our family, and this is, I don't want anyone to think that this is in our family, lung cancer meant death. We have one example.
There's the left lung.
Yeah.
And that's the tumour just over here.
Going into hospital for major surgery is tough enough. But you were going into the very room, to the very ward, to the very area where you'd watched your sister battle and where you'd lost your sister.
Mm-hmm.
That must have been so tough.
I cried and then I laughed because it's like, is someone having is this a joke?
There's another extraordinary twist to this battle, a reason we're back at the SCG, because Mel delayed her own surgery. She insisted on hosting Melbourne's Boxing Day test and then Sydney's pink test. She wanted to work. She needed time to process.
Everyone, unfortunately, touched by cancer, but everyone is doing their bit.
On Jane McGrath Day at the SCG, she helped raise awareness and money to fight cancer, while, in between stints in the middle, Mel rushed to get last-minute blood tests. Her own operation was just a day away.
I did the pre-game. I'll be honest, I didn't watch much cricket that day. I went out to a pathology centre, which was closed, so I was like, oh my God. So I've come back, done the lunch break.
So on one of the biggest days of our sporting calendar, you are hosting, you are in the middle, shuttling back and forth to hospital to get blood tests, and you've got major surgery the very next day.
Yeah.
Do you look back and go, what the hell was I thinking?
I often do that, Fergo, as you know. Look, the intention was good. I know it probably is a bit crazy.
That was brilliant.
Mel now has 3 big goals. To get better.
Recovery's slow, but good.
To get the word out.
It's awareness. It's the biggest cancer killer in the country. It's got a terrible stigma. I feel like I owe it to my sister. I just owe it to people that maybe could get something out of this.
And to get back to work.
Obviously always watching the news.
Really? Mel knows luck was on her side, but she also truly believes.
Maybe that was my big sister. Maybe I got lucky. I don't know. I definitely think she was with me.
Looking out for you.
It's what they do, big sisters and big brothers.
Well, Tasmania's tourism and hospitality industries are just some of the many who rely heavily on having a strong cohort of women as part of its workforce, and attracting more the focus of this luncheon in Hobart today.
Ensuring as many women as possible can enter the workforce in the first place, but also re-enter the workforce after having children, taking time away to care for loved ones. It's so important.
Dress for Success, which helps women prepare to return to work, is accepting all funds raised by the Tourism Industry Council, money which can't come soon enough.
There are more women living in poverty in Tasmania than there are men. There is an increasing need to support women.
The annual event held in the wake of International Women's Day. Well, time now for sport with Nick Kelly, and the Hawks are hoping to avoid a massive distraction this week.
Yeah, Sam Mitchell wants to get back on track after the overseas escapades of 2 of his players. Charlie Curnow speaks exclusively with Santa Maguire, who takes us into his new life. And a disastrous start for the Tigers after a rain delay in the Cup final at Ninja Stadium. Well, the Tigers might be praying for the heavens to open up again in a disastrous start to their home one-day cup final at Ninja Stadium. After eventually getting underway following a 4-hour rain delay, they lost Caleb Jewell and Beau Webbs to within minutes in the very first over. Mitch Owen falling for 5 in the second. The Tigers were just 9 runs on the board. Then McDermott was caught on 9, making it 4 for 21. Play only started half an hour ago. The day night has been reduced to 22 overs each, but if it gets rained out again, leaders Tasmania will win the title by default. Sam Mitchell is backing in Dylan Moore and Connor McDonald after 7 News revealed their boozy off-season run-in with the law in America. But the coach's love for a star trade target has quickly vanished.
4 months after their American dream turned nightmare, Dylan Moore and Connor McDonald again faced the music, this time with a locker room explanation to teammates.
Those 2 boys in particular have been outstanding citizens over the journey of their time at our club and even before our club.
Once a little bit of the original dust settles, then we have a couple of eyeball conversations about standards of behaviour and expectations.
On field, the fierce Hawks-Bombers rivalry gets set for another chapter. The first clash since the club's failed pursuit of Zach Merritt, but it hasn't stopped questions about the former Essendon skipper's future.
I think that's 3, might even be 4 count. Is that 4? That counts as 4. He plays for them right now, so he's the enemy.
A bit more love for Mr. Fix-It Blake Hardwick as he notches game 200 on Friday night. Even he poked fun at Merritt's failed move, comparing Essendon to famous American prison Alcatraz.
I actually used to go for Essendon, that's the funny part, when I was younger, so now I'm on the opposite side of it, so it was just a bit of a laugh with a few mates. Hopefully they didn't take it too seriously.
Melbourne's Cozzy Pickett is set to face the Saints despite heading to Darwin for personal leave. Stephen King says the D's have come a long way since Naziah the Messiah reigned at Marvel.
We've trained, I think, over summer some game management scenarios where the boys have taken some ownership. In terms of getting one back or whatever, I think we're just really looking forward to kick-starting our 26 campaign.
Theodoropoulos, 7 News.
The impatient Richmond Tigers are already plotting their next premiership. 7 News was given inside access to Punt Road on the eve of their clash with Carlton.
Richmond's new $100 million Jack Dyer stand ahead of schedule and pending final government funding due for completion mid-next year. It's where the Tigers expect to display their 14th Cup, now with a fixed timeline.
We've set about a new strategic plan for the club, and that'll see us through the next 5 years. Clearly in that plan we want to win our next AFL Premiership and our first AFLW Premiership.
Brendan Gale once set an ambitious 3-flag plan that came to fruition. Dunn's made on-field objective to have Adam Uze exceed Chris Fagan's maiden Lions Premiership in his 8th year at the helm.
We're impatient. We want to do it as quicker than we possibly can, so that's why we're fast-tracking development in our players. We also want to make sure that this is the destination club in the AFL for both players and for staff.
Teenager Sam Grill told he'll debut tomorrow night against Carlton, the pick number 8, known for his speed and competitive edge.
His will to win is next level. He swears at the umpires out here, which half the time they're coaches. So he does get really animated because he wants to win.
But Nick Vlosten will watch on. A back injury followed post-season ankle surgery.
Hasn't got that volume of game time leading into round one. It'll be too high risk.
Mitch Cleary, 7 News.
Swan star Charlie Curnow says his move to Sydney was the fresh start he needed. The former Blue invited 7 News into his sea change, living just a drop from the beach.
He's closed the door on his time at Icon Park and opened his account in fine fashion at the Swans.
Xander, how are you?
Mate, I'm good. Let's do this.
Come in.
Charlie Curnow granted 7 News access to his new beachside Tamarama house as he lined his new walls with Taubman's paint.
Symbolic of the fresh start overall, isn't it? Symbolic. It is. It is. We all need it. We all need it at times.
That start went to plan on Thursday. 3 goals in a 63-point win on debut.
It's a different passion for the game, which is kind of funny, which is if people are doing big tackles, no one's screaming at the umpires calling ball. And, I don't know, it's just different when you come up here.
Just as the sparkling sands of Sydney have been an adjustment, Tamarama Beach just a 2-minute walk from his front door.
Take the dog straight down there and enjoy a bit of a swim before training.
But it's the cultural shift that has arguably been more important. A video of him winning a beer sculling contest at a Sydney trivia night went viral, but in this city, at times, he's just another pub goer.
People were awesome early days. They'd shout out "Welcome to Sydney" and stuff, and but it's super chilled out. There's no areas much. I guess it's more relaxed.
Xander Maguire, 7 News.
NBA history was made today. Miami's Bam Adebayo scoring 83 points against the Washington Wizards. Adebayo surpasses the late Kobe Bryant for the second highest scoring game ever.
In the Bam, yes! And the foul!
Kobe's mark was 81. The all-time record is held by Wilt Chamberlain, won 100 points back in 1962. Miami thumped Washington 150-29. And Kim, it seems Tasmania's tail has a bit of work to do. They're now 5 for 35 with 15 overs remaining.
Oh, let's bring on that rain. Thank you, Nick. Speaking of the rain, Kiah Wicks is next with the weather forecast.
Good evening. 27, our high today, recorded on Flinders Island. Mount Reid saw our overnight low of 8 degrees. A good day for ducks across the state today. King Island, Smithton, St Helens, Friendly Beaches and Ooze 20. 19 in Burnie, Hobart and Huonville, 17 in Strawn and 13 in Laiweni. Now, the frontal system drove plenty of that rainfall that we saw today. It was more intense about the west, but lighter about the east. In the last 24 hours, Pine Forest has picked up close to 50 millimetres in the gauge. Now, tomorrow, a fresh southwesterly airstream will approach Tasmania from the north. We still have a couple of low pressure systems leading to continued rainfall across the tropics. A partly cloudy day in Alice Springs tomorrow. 35 showers will continue to fall in Darwin. Fine and sunny in Brisbane and Canberra. Grey skies in Adelaide, 22. Showery in Melbourne with 19 rather. West southwesterly winds 20 to 30 knots. Now those winds come with a strong wind warning for all coastal waters and inland lakes tomorrow. Southwesterly swells build to 4 metres. Light showers should carry on in the south tomorrow, but perhaps only a mil, if that. 17 degrees across most parts. Kingston and Huonville 16, Geeston 15, 6 the overnight low in Bushy Park, warming to just 12 degrees later. Partly cloudy along the east coast. St Helens 21, 19 in Scottsdale, Launceston and Swansea. Windy on King Island, 19 also. Lyweni 1 overnight tonight and just 8 degrees tomorrow. A few mixed conditions towards the west, 18 across the north of the coast there. Showers in Marrawar and Strawn, 16, much the same in Queenstown and Zeehan, 8 in Lake St Clair. Friday, isolated showers about the west and south. Now they may ease and contract to the far south and west. Isolated showers about the west coast on Saturday, and on Sunday, isolated showers about the west and Bass Strait Islands. Now it's remaining dry across the state for the week ahead. Hobart ranging from mid-teens to low 20s, warming up a touch in the north but only by a degree or 2. Tuesday is the pick of the week in the northwest with a cloudy 22 in Devonport and Burnie. Hobart 15 degrees, Launceston 16, Burnie 18 and 16 in Devonport. Now Kim, the Bureau indicates the north, south and east only receive 30 to 50% of their average rainfall. That's all from me tonight. I'll see you again tomorrow.
Okay, thank you, Kiah. And that is all we have time for tonight. Thanks for your company. Good night, everyone.